My girlfriend is upset because a 29-year-old man gave money to my ex, who is 28, even though the money was for my 5-year-old son. I'm hearing different viewpoints and would like some advice. Carrie is my ex-girlfriend, and we have a 5-year-old son together. Although we couldn't make our relationship work, we do our best as co-parents. Next week is our son's spring break. Normally he would be with me, but I can't get time off work. When I told Carrie, she was disappointed but understood. To make up for it, I offered to pay for a trip for her and our son. Carrie talked to him, and they decided to go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Studios, which is just a few hours' drive away. We agreed, and I wrote a check to Carrie since our son doesn't have a bank account. The money was for tickets and the hotel. Carrie said she didn't need extra money, but I added some for food and souvenirs because what's the point of going to a fun place if you can't fully enjoy it? I made a note of this in my ledger. That's when my girlfriend Anna came into the picture. We've been together for 9 months. We don't live together, but we spend a lot of time at each other's places. Yesterday, while she was at my house, we had an argument because she saw my ledger and noticed the check to Carrie. I explained the reason, and Anna said there was no excuse for giving that much money beyond the child support I already pay, especially since the amount was more than needed for the tickets and hotel. She questioned why I recorded the check to Carrie if it was for my son. Anna said she's tired of me giving money to Carrie beyond the child support. Sometimes I give Carrie money when my son needs something, but it's definitely not constant. Recently, my son wanted to sign up for a soccer day camp, but Carrie didn't have the money in time, so I offered to pay. It was only $75. Another time, my son needed a new bed, and instead of waiting for Carrie to save up, I bought a new one from IKEA. The only time since we broke up that I gave money directly to Carrie was when she needed help with medical bills. She doesn't have health insurance and was in the hospital with an infection, so I paid half the bill, about $240, directly. This was before I was with Anna, and I still consider it as being for my son's benefit since Carrie is his primary caregiver, and her health directly impacts his routine. Anna brought this up and threw it in my face. To be clear, Anna and I have been discussing moving in together, but no plans have been made and we haven't combined our finances. Anna says I'm allowing Carrie to be irresponsible with money and that I'm prioritizing Carrie. I would say that if I'm prioritizing anyone, it's my son. I won't be proud and refuse to give money to my ex when it benefits our son. I pay child support monthly, but unexpected things happen. And while I have the means, Carrie faces difficulties. She always shows me receipts and other proof of expenses, and I trust her. For me, it just brings peace of mind. Carrie would never ask for money for our son and spend it on herself. She would never do that. I told Anna that my son comes first. If Carrie needs help with him, I will do what I can. Anna argued that my son wouldn't suffer from not going to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and that I was only paying because I felt guilty about working. She even accused me of still loving Carrie. I told her that Carrie will always have a special place in my heart because of our son, but I no longer love her. I talked to my mom about the Harry Potter situation, not about the fight with Anna. My mom said I was right to treat my son well. Anna thinks I gave too much money to Carrie. Maybe she would have a point if our finances were combined, but they're not. I love Anna, but I feel like she wanted me to spend that money on her. Sometimes Anna acts a bit spoiled. Am I wrong for giving money to my ex for our son? After reflecting, I almost decided to break up with Anna, but wanted to talk to her first. When she came over, I made it clear that my son will always come first. I'm not prioritizing Carrie over Anna, but if Carrie needs help with our son, I will help. I admitted that I felt guilty for not taking my son on the trip, but said it was my money and our finances weren't combined. I also told her she had no right to look at my ledger. Anna's reaction was predictable. She cried and insisted that I still loved Carrie because I wrote checks to her. She really didn't listen to anything I said. I apologized but ended the relationship. For a week, Anna called me trying to change my mind. I realized that I need to date someone who understands that helping my ex with our son doesn't mean I still love her. My son loved the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. He bought a wand and brought one for me. He was so excited to show me all the pictures. Carrie also had a great time. I felt a bit sad about ending things with Anna, but seeing my son's happiness, I knew I made the right decision. When he gets out of school in the summer, he'll spend a week with me so Carrie can have some time to herself. In the end, everything turned out well. What's disturbing about this situation is that Anna was rifling through his ledger at his house, even though she doesn't live there. This wouldn't be normal even if she did live there. Why would she be snooping through his expenses before discussing the matter? It seems like Anna has a distorted view that spending money on someone means love, and not spending money means a lack of love. For her, money symbolizes love, and since money is finite, his love must be finite too. She feels that he's using part of this finite love on someone else, not her. This situation reminded me of an old episode of 90 Day Fiancé, where a woman from a wealthy family married a man who had children from a previous relationship and was trying to care for those kids. She was furious when she found out. If anyone remembers that couple, let me know. This situation seems very similar. What the man is doing is not wrong or cruel. He's being considerate and taking care of his child. He explained clearly that he's not just giving money to his ex to go shopping. He's enabling his son to do things he wants, like play soccer or visit the wizarding world of Harry Potter. If he can't take his son personally because of work, how else would these activities happen? Even with this, many people would still be upset with this situation. What would you do if you were in this situation? Now, a different story that made me angry before Christmas. My housemate and I, both 23, went to a nearby bar for some drinks. Once there, she recognized a friend from her university course. I had met her once and liked her. We sat at the bar and talked about work, life, and aliens. We got quite drunk and noticed a guy entering with sunglasses at 10 p.m. in a dimly lit bar, wearing a Matrix-style coat, and just standing at the bar doing nothing. We ignored it. A few hours and more drinks later, we were leaving and I ordered 3 Jager bombs. 1 for me, 1 for my friend, and 1 for the bartender. She said she would bring 4 Jager bombs. I corrected her, saying I ordered 3. She insisted, raising 4 fingers and smiling. I put one of her fingers down and said she could serve 4, but I would only pay for 3. She insisted that if you buy 4 drinks, you pay for 4 drinks. I pointed out that I didn't know the 4th person. She pointed to the guy in sunglasses who was now watching us closely. But I didn't know him. The bartender, surprised, insisted that I knew him. He's my friend and he's thirsty. I told the waitress she could get him a drink and left. I didn't refuse out of spite. When I go to a pub, I bring enough money to know how much I can spend. At that moment, I only had money for 3 Jager bombs. Even if that wasn't the case, what really annoyed me was her not taking a no for an answer. I think she noticed I was getting upset. I hope she did, because that's not the right way to interact with people. It's a cool pub, but this whole situation left a bitter taste in my mouth. If she's still working there, I won't go back. Was I the idiot? I think she waited until the end of the night to try this, maybe because she noticed we were pretty drunk. She might have thought she could intimidate or confuse us into paying for the 4th drink. It felt like she was trying to mess with my head, implying that I was wrong. Instead of trying to trick me, why not just ask if I could buy a drink for her friend? That would give me the option to accept or decline. If I really liked the bar, maybe I would have done it, but not in that context. What would you do in this situation? Was I the idiot? On a different note, a situation that happened at my radio station. I'm a host at a community station that plays indie music. There's a listener, let's call him Kevin, who acts like a Karen. He often calls to complain about our programming and demands changes. We always suggest that if he doesn't like what we play, he can listen to another station. That's never enough for him, and he keeps arguing until we hang up on him. Kevin started showing up at the station in person, shouting and demanding to speak to the manager. On one of these occasions, he came up to me in the lobby, whining and saying, "They'll listen to me. Can you believe it?" I simply asked him to leave me out of it. We've had to escort him out several times and threatened to call the police. Now we have his picture at reception so that the staff know who he is and don't let him in. Receptionists are instructed to call the police if he shows up again. This situation is really serious and quite uncomfortable. Why doesn't he just listen to another station? Why wait for a radio station to completely change to please him? when there are so many other options available? No one is forcing him to listen to us. He complains that we're a hippie station full of liberals and millennials playing alternative music, and he doesn't like that we're nonpartisan and broadcast impartial news. He thinks we should broadcast right-wing news like Fox News. We're not going to change our essence to please just one person. We have many listeners who like our station exactly as it is. They're the ones who fund us, as we're a grassroots station entirely run by donations and volunteers. Are we the idiots for not changing our radio station? Kevin seems to have some issues. He's obsessed with our station for some reason, perhaps out of nostalgia or because he has difficulty accepting change and tries to shape reality around him. Who knows what his history is with this station? Maybe he has an irrational connection with the station number and is unhappy with the new broadcasting team. We've reached the point where we have to show his picture to the receptionist and instruct her to call the police if he shows up. This is very serious because if he completely loses control, who knows what Kevin might do? This could turn into a scary situation. What would you do if it were your radio station and someone was constantly demanding changes? Are we the idiots for not giving in? Now, another issue. I'm a 22-year-old woman and grew up in a family where men always made jokes and teased each other. Since I got engaged to Tim, 23, my brother, cousin, father, and uncle have been testing him to see what kind of man he is. They forced him to play chess 4 times in a row, secretly slashed his tires to see if he would fix them himself or ask for help, and asked questions about jokes to tell his future mother-in-law, his opinions on abortion, God, equality, etc. They also tested his fishing and hunting skills and overwhelmed him with hypothetical scenarios to test his decision-making ability. They call him slow and weak, but Tim has asthma, which they ignore, saying they're just excuses. I demanded they stop, but my father said it's just a typical thing men do, and I was spoiling the fun. Last week, they took Tim on a 3-day trip and hid his inhaler. He left them and came back in 7 hours telling me what happened. I was furious. When my cousin and the others came back, I exploded at them. I really want to know. Was I the idiot for not inviting my cousin, brother, uncle, and father to my wedding because of this prank? I asked little Timmy if he ran up to me to gossip, and I yelled that the 4 of them were no longer invited to my wedding. My brother freaked out, saying it was just a joke and that they would return the inhaler. My dad said they would apologize if I insisted. But Tim would lose the little respect they had for him and would always be seen as the kind college boy who's not ready for challenges. I called them awful and walked away. My cousin is begging us to talk. My uncle is silent. But my dad is so angry he involved my mom to convince me to reconsider. However, I continue to refuse to invite them again. My mom says I'm overreacting and that I should let go of the past, not letting it ruin my relationship with the family. Am I the idiot for sticking to my position, or am I overreacting? Messing with someone's breathing goes beyond a prank. The panic felt when unable to breathe and urgently needing the inhaler is something they probably can't understand. It's not an excuse. It's a clinical condition he can't control. Such situations lead people to total panic states, and not being able to breathe must be one of the most terrifying experiences. What would happen if he had an asthma attack in the middle of nowhere, unable to communicate his need? It's a terrible idea. Some of the other pranks are also strange, like slashing tires. Tires are expensive, and that's a very costly prank, just to see if he fixes them himself or asks for help. There must be better ways to test someone. As for the decision to uninvite them from the wedding, do you think it was an overreaction or are you on the same page as me? Let me know your thoughts. Am I the idiot for uninviting them or not?